What is up, everybody? Please welcome Boyz4life. What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up, man? I appreciate you for having me on.
No
I think
problem.
this comment was for me from J Dub where he said, "If you don't roast him, I don't know you." And it ain't that kind of show today. It ain't that kind of
Dang.
show today.
Yeah, we were once foes, but man, we work in good business together. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, talk about the Cowboys, man, in general, man. So, what stood out to you about the draft?
Um, what stood out to me about this draft is the type of guys we drafted. It's not so much the finesse type of guys, the big name type of guys, but kind of the guys that have that come in with a little bit of attitude, with the chip on their shoulder, and those type of guys we normally don't draft, but we took a chance on a lot of these guys, and I like where this attitude and this culture change is heading right now with these guys that we drafted with the attitudes that these guys have, because a lot of these guys are coming in. I mean, of course they're rookies, but they don't care who who they're going against in training camp or OTAs or anything. It don't matter if it's Michael Parsons, Tank. It don't matter. They're doing everything they can to get on this team, and so I'm excited for that.
That's good, man. At first, when you guys drafted Tyler Smith, you weren't too sure about him, but then I heard a lot of reviews that he actually did good against Parson in practice. Is that true?
Yeah, I wasn't keen on him. Also, I wasn't keen on him because of the fact that I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was. Didn't watch him at all. And then when we drafted him, I was like, who? Especially with the bigger names on the board, like Jermaine Johnson, who did come from Georgia and then transferred over to Florida State, and then you had George Karlaftis still there. Who else were the big? You still had was there? I don't know if Devin Lloyd was still on the board, but then you also had at the time you had Nakobe Dean, and that's that's another guy I wanted, because I wanted another linebacker paired with Parsons, and that was because if you put a Nakobe Dean there in the linebacker spot, you can have more free range with Parsons, especially being more of a roaming type player. But that was, of course, before everything that came out with Dean. Once everything that came out with Dean, I was like, okay, well, I get it. That's why we passed on Dean. So
Yeah, and then what stands out about the Kobe Dean type of pick that you were talking about? There was this one controversial video that you put out there, and I guess a certain content creator put like Jacoby Dean is better than Michael Parson, like out of controversial. Like I thought maybe he was a little off, but like I seen where you were going with that argument there with Michael Parson compared to Jacoby D.
yeah, man. I hadn't put out anything yet on anyone at the time, but then I heard that take from that Eagle video, that Eagle content creator, and I posted it because it had me laughing. It had me laughing because you're comparing two different type of players. We did draft Parsons as a linebacker, but we all know we've seen him at edge, we've seen him at linebacker. We've seen him just roaming around on the field, right? That's what we've seen him do. That's why his green sticker got taken away and got put on what's his name? Curse. And so we can have Michael Parsons more roaming around the field than playing middle linebacker or just being the signal caller, being the signal caller. So when I heard that, it just made me laugh, because you're comparing two completely different styles of play and two different, like, basically players, as far as Nakobe Dean is going to be a pure linebacker, and you're going to have Michael Parsons as yes, he is a linebacker, but he's mainly going to be used for edge rushing and roaming around the field.
Yeah, like last year he was kind of effective when he got to the quarterback, but from what I'm been told by a lot of your content creators, man, they were just saying they expect him to be more of the middle linebacker this coming season. Any facts to that, or is he going to be all around?
I'm hoping it's kind of all around. I mean, he did have a lot of his sacks when he was a linebacker, but if his coverage has stepped up, because he was iffy in coverage. I mean, he can do it, but if his coverage steps up and he's able to still blitz the way he does, I don't have a problem with being the middle linebacker whatsoever. But with that being said, it would have been nice to have another linebacker like a Devin Lloyd, like a Nakobe Dean, prior to me finding out what happened with Nakobe Dean. But one of those two guys. I like the pick with the Damone Clark pick. Of course, he's coming off spinal fusion surgery, but if he's able to get up, play all that goodness, why not? I mean, this guy was a stud in college with LSU, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, usually LSU players, like on defense, they usually produce some pretty damn good players, especially at linebacker. They're like the ones that kind of do solid in coverage. I mean, you can look at the reputation. Like, you see the Atlanta Falcons get some linebackers off of LSU and quite a few other teams out there. I mean, what's his name? Deion Jones and quite a few others that come and go. And then the one from Tampa Bay, what's his name? Yeah. Devin White or something.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good reputation. Their defense is well coached. And then you look at when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, as far as like their receiving core, people were questioning a little bit about what's going to happen after Amari Cooper's gone. And I seen what you guys were doing, but this one draft pick, it caught me by surprise. It stood out to me because you guys went for this guy from South Alabama, Jalen Tolberg, which I've heard a lot of good things about this kid, and he had maybe almost first round talent, and I just say, wow, what a good pick by Dallas.
Yeah, it seems like we find a lot of these diamonds in the rough type players in the first 3 rounds. I mean, it seems like we've been finding them a lot more often over the past few years. With Tolbert, if I'm not mistaken, he had, I want to say it was over 1,400 yards receiving last year, and he's the type of player that he can play everywhere. He can play every wide receiver position. So I'm excited to have him. I'm not saying he is a Amari Cooper replacement. For those people that are in the chat that might say, "Oh, well, this guy's saying he has Amari Cooper." The Cowboys have a replacement for Amari Cooper. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the rookie with a lot of talent coming in, unknown, So, and I expect him to be used quite a bit, especially with Michael Gallup still on, recovering from his ACL that he had last year, and he probably won't be back till about November, December, maybe. What's his name? Gallup. So I expect Tolbert to hit the ground running when he comes in, week 1. I mean, I expect him to get a lot of playing time during preseason so he can get his feet wet, and then come week 1, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, Michael Gallup's coming off an ACL injury, and I think, he should be coming no later than the season. But when you look at the receiver depth, I mean, I looked at what the Cowboys got, and I don't know, I check out football all in general, but I saw this one player from your guys' article. What's his name? TJ Vasher. Hearing a lot of buzz about this kid. What stood out about him when you heard about him?
Not that he was just making plays this OTAs. Now, for me, I've always said I don't take stock into OTAs. I don't take stock into scrimmages. I don't take stock into a lot of these things, because when you are and not so much scrimmages, but more so like OTAs and training camp, because yes, it's to develop your skills, but it's a lot of drills that are set up to whatever position those skills are set for, to make those players look good, to get them the practice they need so it can translate into the game. Now, if these guys are making one-handed circus crazy catches in these drills, or it looks like they're beating their the cornerback, whoever's guarding them by a mile, it's like, well, hey, hold on, it's meant for that. So I don't take a lot of stock into that. It's more for me. It's we'll see what happens with him when the season starts. If he's going to be, a 3, a 4, or 5 option, because we do have Sayamalo We do have Washington. We're going to have Gallup come back, in November. So, I mean, for him to get on the field, I get it. They've been saying that he's been a human highlight reel in OTAs, but again, it's just OTAs. It's mainly to get your feet wet again, to start to get in shape, groom yourself to get ready for the season. So that's what I feel.
OTAs is a little bit too much hype. Yeah, I rather wait till preseason because that's the true eye test and all that stuff. But and this one's an interesting question. Despite this guy being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, how do you explain Dak being 1-3 in the playoffs in 7 years? I mean, that's kind of a question that we all want to know, man. Like, is Dak?
I don't know how you explain that. I mean, it is what it is. He's 1-3. He's lost to Rodgers. He's lost to Jared Goff when they went to the Super Bowl. He lost to Rodgers when they went to the NFC Championship game.
And Jimmy.
And Jimmy Garoppolo. But it was more, it was more of a Deebo Samuels type deal because Jimmy only had 125 passing yards that game and an interception. But it was more of a Deebo Samuels type game. And y'all went to the NFC Championship game. So, I mean, it's not like we're losing to these teams that end up getting bounced out in the next round. These teams we lose to are playing to get to a Super Bowl. One of them got to a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're losing to a team that got bounced out in the next round. No, we're losing to teams that actually make it almost all the way or do make it all the way. So, I mean, you want to say we're 1-3. Okay, I get it, but we're playing tough teams. And like I've said before, and I've been saying it, until Dak proves to me that he can get the job done against those teams in the playoffs, he's not the guy for me. He's not the guy for Dallas, I don't think. I've said it time and time again, and I'll keep saying it. So,
yeah, I mean, Dak is who he is when it comes to putting out good numbers in the regular season. I mean, he's got the big contract. He's got a lot of weapons, no excuses. But this division, it's pretty wide open unless you guys are very competitive to repeat again. But it's kind of like a strange division. When you play in this NFC East, it kind of becomes like the team that wins like maybe 9 to 10 wins at the max, maybe. And then they either win a division, but the Cowboys for last year, they won what is it, about 12 or 11 games, right?
We won 12 games last year. And then now everyone this year has a very, very easy schedule. Everyone has a very easy schedule. So I'm not saying we're going to repeat with 12 wins. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm not saying, I've heard Eagle fans talk about 15-1, or 15-2, 17-0, crazy 14 wins, overhyping their team way too much. And I'm here to, I'm giving us, I'm going to say it. I'm giving us at least 12 wins because we did it last year. We have an easier schedule this year. Why not? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. This is just an early prediction for me because this is what we did last year, So it's a tough division within the division. But when we go outside the division, none of the teams in this division has very much success outside of the division. It's just tough because we always play each other very, very tough. And whoever has the most wins in the division and a few wins outside the division ends up winning the division. And getting there, getting to represent the NFC East in the playoffs. Last year we were able to do it. I'm hoping we repeat again. So we'll be able to get but in all honesty, I think we're going to the playoffs regardless. I think we're going to make a wild card if we don't win the division. So,
yeah, even with the talent that you guys got and the coaching staff, it should be considered a playoff team right off the bat. See, that's a question that I can't even answer. I don't even know how it's going to end up being because that's a question mark. Nobody doesn't know what to expect from Trey Lance. Everybody's thinking Jimmy's still going to be the quarterback. There's been talks that he's going to get traded, or they're trying to figure out some way to get rid of him. But if this was a rematch outcome, I can't answer that question because that's a question mark because nobody doesn't know what Trey Lance can be right now. And then the Dallas Cowboys, they are a team that could get better or for the worse, depends on which type of team you're getting. But I think Dallas, on all perspective, they look exactly as good on offense, even with Dak at quarterback, because he's got weapons.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we're not even sure if Debo's going to even play, because there's been talks about John Lynch saying that he will play, and I'm pretty sure he will. I'm optimistic that he will play, but there's just been a lot of toxic stuff in whatever way. But guess we can say it is what it is with your division. And what's up, crazy? But
do you expect Deebo Samuel to be a Niner for at least the remainder of the year?
For this season, I believe so. And it wouldn't surprise me if they do get a contract done before training camp, because that's where they're leaning towards. They're trying to figure out ways to balance the cap space, because they already signed the draft picks. The only question is they're trying to find some trade suitors for Jimmy Garoppolo, and nobody wants them. So that's the problem.
Why not? Is it the contract issue? Is it just – I mean, I'm pretty sure teams could take them and use him as a backup, if they got a bona fide starter, I mean, he wouldn't be a bad backup to have.
Yeah, but $25 million, would you want that guy on your bench?
That's what I'm saying. Is it a contract issue? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, contract issues pretty much, because it's a lot to do with that, and I just don't think no other team sees him as a starter right now. So that's probably the only issue with that. But yeah, it's pretty much like it's a question mark. And then you look at the Niners, they've kind of had some question marks with the interior offensive line. We go with wide receiver depth, which I think we improved that spot. Safety, that's the question mark, because Jaquiski Tartt left, and there's a lot of good buzz with this kid, Tolino Hufanga. This kid from UFC last year is standing out. He's got the instincts, everything. So I feel like he's catching on to speed, but we'll see. You have to wait and see what happens. Like you said, all this offseason stuff is nothing but hype. So we got to wait and see what happens. But I feel like this is the issue, is the longer Jimmy is still here, the longer this media is going to keep on trying to hit the batter on Trey Lance, because they're not even sure about him. He's a mystery. And I can agree with one of the content creators, the Ram content creator said. He said that Trey Lance could be one of the greatest mysteries because nobody doesn't know what to expect.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And I mean, when does Garoppolo's contract run out? Is it this year? Is it last year, or does he have a couple more years?
He's got one last year.
So it's just this year and next year?
No, this year. That's it.
Okay. So after this year, y'all are probably not even going to re-sign him.
Nope, we're looking to get rid of him at this point.
I need to put this to rest, because I keep having video makers and people keep talking mess about Deebo Samuel and him being traded to the Dallas Cowboys, because it seems like there was rumors going around. Do you expect that at all happening?
No, that's a long shot, man. Like, you guys have to give us some ransom or something in return, or else there's no point. And John Lynch kind of made it pretty clear that he would be a fool just to get rid of Deebo Samuel at this point.
Yeah, but so with Deebo Samuel, with him coming back and him being, let's face it, him being, just because his whole deal is he just wants to be a straight wide receiver. He don't want to be running and playing the wide receiver, playing running back position and playing the wide receiver. He just wants to play wide receiver position. Do you think him as just a wide receiver is worth any kind of money that he's asking for, even close?
Man, he's a very good receiver, but what makes him stand out above the rest is he can do it all. If you take that away, he's barely average, if anything else. So that's like.
No, that's what I was saying, is like, because he doesn't want to do that stuff. Wasn't there like reports and everything, and him saying that he just wants to be just a pure wide receiver? He doesn't want to play the halfback, the running back position, any of that stuff. He just wants to be just that pure wide receiver. So the money that he's asking for, because let's face it, and like you said, he's very good at, just the wide receiver position. He has a case for the dropsies. I think he had 6, 7, or 8 drops last year. As a wide receiver, he's good, but when you add that other layer to him, when he's doing what he did against the Cowboys and other teams, where you have him, doing running out of the backfield or things of that nature, it elevates his gameplay and it elevates your team. So if he doesn't want to do that, what kind of contract do you think that he should expect?
Man, like, as far as his contract, I do expect him to get at least, I'm guessing 25 million, maybe a little closer to Devontae Adams type contract. I think him saying that he doesn't want to play running back, that's leverage talk. He wants to say, hey, if you don't pay me this amount of money, I'm not going to play this role. I think he's just trying to get this front office to pay him a little bit more up front. And I think that's what the issue is. It's not that he doesn't want to be here. It's not that he doesn't want to play this other role. Shanahan already made it pretty clear that he does plan on using them in certain ways. But we did draft a running back. We added some running back depth. So that's going to be the least concern for Debo. We might use Debo in some plays here and there, but we're not going to use him like we did the previous year, because last year it had to do with the running back issues, the injuries. That's why we had to use him at running back at times, because a lot of the running backs, like Raheem Mostert was injured. Jeff Wilson was coming off of the injury, and he just wasn't quite effective. Trey Sermon was injured in and out. And then Elijah Mitchell kept missing games here and there. And it was kind of like, that's why Debo was used as a running back, just to make it a good, like, because we're a run first team, and and Debo was just effective. Like, when he catches the ball and he does do all kinds of like jet sweeps and all that stuff, that's how Shanahan likes to utilize his wide receivers. And I feel like Debo does make a difference when he gets the touches, but I think all that stuff is all talk about it, because he just wants more money. And if he just says, oh, I don't want to play running back, I think he's just trying to up the value. Maybe get it up to Devontae Adams type money.
So you think that him saying, I don't want to play wide receiver is going to make the Niners, John Lynch, throw more money at him? Like, here you go. Here's your money. Now play wide receiver for us. And if he gets that money, play running back for us. If he gets that money, then he'll play ball, so to speak.
Yeah. Money talks, bullshit walks. I think he just wants to up that value a little bit. Even if he gets up the same amount of money as Devontae Adams, I think he's still going to take that role. A lot of players say stuff and then they don't really mean it. That's just contract talks right there.
And a lot of things that I hear, that I've read, these players that want to be, the next good player that wants to be the highest paid player. To be honest with you, there was something I was reading, and I don't think it's so much the overall value of what the actual contract is. I think these guys are more worried about, because there's, I don't want to say they're smartening up, but they're figuring it out that it's more about the guaranteed money. Like, they could care less if they're getting paid $239 mil, just saying 239 mil. Oh, but their guaranteed contract is only $56 million. You know what I mean? And the other portion of it isn't. So I think it's more, these guys coming in wanting that guaranteed money to be that high number, but rather than just the overall contract being higher than the other person's overall contract.
Yeah, that's just how the value is. It's just ridiculous how they turn out that money. Oh, okay. I guess that was savage of him to put up that. I like the jokes right there. Oh, man. Is this even a question? Are we going by win stats, or are we going by legitimate stats? Because, as much as I hate to say it, Dak does put on the good numbers. Yeah. But Jimmy, for whatever reason, he wins games. Man, I don't know. It's like Dak is proven. But he just can't win the big one.
They're both proven, but it's just, and I'm gonna sit here and say, I've always blamed Dak. When we get into these playoff games, and he kind of just doesn't show up. It kind of just the offense just looks very vanilla, and I know it's not on him, but he's the quarterback. And it's the quarterback that gets the brunt of the criticism when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So even though I know it's, when we get in these playoff situations and we're not winning, we look bad. It's not just Dak. It's the defense. It's Kellen Moore. But at that time, when your emotions are running high and you're getting pissed off, you want to blame one person, and the easiest person to blame is Dak. But outside the playoffs, I mean, he had 37 touchdowns last year, 10 interceptions, and I think it was almost 4,500 yards passing last year.
And he was coming off an injury too, so that's kind of tough to overcome.
And he got hurt again because he hurt his like calf muscle. So, but with Amari Cooper being gone this year, we will see how much of an effect Mari had on this offense. Even though we saw that his targets weren't there, his presence on the field alone warranted, double teams and things like that. Even though CeeDee Lamb did get doubled a lot as well, but now with Gallopert, Cooper not there, you have an unproven rookie in Tolbert. You have James Washington, who can take the top off of defense, but he's more of a guy who he'll show up for a game or two and then he'll disappear for 2 or 3 games. You won't see anything from him. So, and then now you have your true number one, right, in CeeDee Lamb, and this is going to be a prove it year. His contract is coming up. I'm not one for signing someone on a contract year but let's face it, he has production. The only thing I need from him is double-digit touchdowns. That's what I need from him. I can't have my number one wide receiver going 7 games without a touchdown. I can't have that. Like no one can have that. And for him to do that, and again, I don't think it was just him. I think it was who was getting the targets, what was the scheme like, who was getting the targets. And that's what I feel why CeeDee Lamb didn't get a lot of these touchdowns. And it all depends on what we were doing that game and who we played and what did it look like. Because, I mean, a few of those games, if I look up the stats, I'm pretty sure it was where Dak was struggling. And it was towards the end of the year when Dak was struggling a lot. When he came back off of his calf injury, he struggled quite a bit. This offense at the end of the season, mainly after that Bronco game, that Bronco game and after, we just looked like straight garbage. After that, when Dak got hurt, came back from injury, because we had because he got hurt against New England, and then Minnesota he was out, and that Denver game he looked bad. Atlanta, we killed Atlanta. Kansas City, CD got hurt, and that's when he had 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb did against Atlanta, but after that, he doesn't have another touchdown. He only had 6 touchdowns last year, and I can't have my number one wide receiver going up against Washington twice, the Giants, Philly, the Saints, and not scoring any type of touchdowns. How would you feel if your number one guy in Debo went 8 games or 7 games without a touchdown?
It would be frustrating because he would be the guy to get in the red zone. Same can be said about George Kittle. Like, he's a consistent tight end, but you don't see the touchdowns. I know a lot of the Niners fan base, I hate to say this, but man, we kind of missed the presence of what Vernon Davis was, man. That guy was a double-digit red zone threat as a tight end back in the day. And this guy had speed like it was nobody's business, but he was a double-digit touchdown red zone. But what I do like about George Kittle is the ability to block, and he's very consistent, but just never was able to stay healthy. But when you look at the wide receivers, Debo only gets 6 touchdowns per season. He's effective when you use him in different ways. I guess you can say he is kind of like a CeeDee Lamb in some way because his touchdown production doesn't speak for itself. But it's like you said, I want to see consistency just the same way as I see with Ayuk. Ayuk has to step up also, and then Debo he gets a lot of the coverage sometimes, and that opens up for guys like Ayuk to step up, or Jennings. Jennings I really like. He's a big, tall receiver, big physical in the red zone. I think that the more we start using this guy from from Tennessee. And then we just got this speedy kid from Dallas, Danny Gray. This guy's got some breakaway speed. I like this kid. He's very consistent, but he has a little bit of drop passes coming out of Dallas. So he was a kid from SMU, has some unbelievable speed, like 4.33 speed, but 6 foot, 180 pounds. Kind of gives you that big playability. Like something we've been lacking last year. No disrespect to Debo. He was fast, but he wasn't like the fast like some of those other guys out there.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at Debo. I mean, he did well. He went 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row without a touchdown.
That's frustrating. That's what I'm saying.
He went 5 games without a touchdown, and he seriously is asking and trying to up his value. I mean, if you go 5 games without a touchdown, I mean, I can accept maybe 1 or 2 games, but I mean, look at the teams y'all played. He didn't score against Atlanta. He didn't score against Tennessee, Minnesota, Jacksonville. He didn't score against Cincinnati. He didn't score against. And I get it. Cincinnati had a good defense last year. I mean, they were one of the main reasons why they even went to the Super Bowl last year. But still, like looking at those stats, and same thing with CeeDee Lamb, because Debo had 1 more target than CeeDee Lamb did. CeeDee Lamb had 2 more catches than Debo. But Debo's, I think his average was like 18 yards a catch. And CeeDee Lamb's, I got to look that up. But, I mean, for me, it's CeeDee Lamb doing more with his leg work than anything else. And I think the same thing for Debo. Debo got a lot of, short underneath passes, right? And he's a big yak guy, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like those short passes, those are like the one plays that, like, if you saw those plays against the Bears, that one play where he went like 86 yards run, and that was like one of his best specialties. And then if you use that on certain package plays for like guys like CeeDee Lamb, I just don't know how CeeDee Lamb can't even, like, there's been some plays where he doesn't even break the tackles. I don't get it. Like, he's got to bulk up a little more.
Well, he did put on some weight this year, and he did. Apparently he grew half an inch. So, but he did put on weight, did bulk up. CeeDee Lamb, his because I was looking at Debo's stuff here against Detroit. Where was it? I think he put up not Detroit, Chicago. He put 171 yards against them last year on 9 targets, 6 receptions. He had I think that was a 12.3 yards a catch, or yeah.
If you look at his
yards a catch is 16.2.
16.2, yeah, that's pretty much the top of the best of the league right there, Mike.
Excuse me, that was yards after the catch per reception. Yeah. So this guy is catching the ball wherever he's catching it, and then he's running 16 yards downfield. That's what he's doing per catch that game. CeeDee Lamb's best game, yards after the catch, was on average, I think his was 10 yards. 10 yards, and that was against New York.
Which we know their defense was a bit suspect.
Yeah. So and his total yards for that game was 84. So that means half of his yards came from running after the catch. So like he's a big he's a yak guy as well. And same thing like Debo, 71 yards, yards before the catch, 74 yards after the catch, 97. So, before the catch, out of those 9 targets, they were 74 yards, when he caught the ball. And then after that, when he started running, that's 97 yards after that, which gave him his 171 total yards.
Yeah. And then you look at the Detroit game also, he had like 189 yards, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was crazy. And before the catch, that was 80 yards, on 12 of those targets. So 12 of those targets, 80. What is that? That is, hold on, let me do the math there. So that means what, 6.6 something yards a catch. I mean, that's not a lot, 6.6. I think it was 6.66 all the way 7. So 6.7 yards per catch, when he's catching, when the ball's coming out of the air. So that's a lot of underneath routes. And then he's taking off and running the ball, and he was getting, because his yards after the catch was 109 yards. So, I mean, he's a big yak guy as well. He's very big, physical. Wasn't it him that carried like 3 guys into the end zone this past year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Like it was, I think it was against. Trying to remember, was it like during the playoffs? I believe he had one of his breakout games. Then you had the one with Green Bay. He didn't do much, so that one's. I'm trying to think of which one he did play his best game where he did carry some defenders with him. Wait, wasn't it Dallas?
No, I don't think it was Dallas because we didn't play on until the
the regular season. Okay, I think it was the Bears. Because there was defenders right on him, and then he broke a tackle right there against the Chicago Bears defense.
Okay.
And I think it was Cincinnati on one of the games, but I don't think he got a touchdown out of it.
Oh, okay.
The Rams. There you go. The Rams.
Oh, the Rams.
The Rams always tend to struggle with Debo, and it would take more than 3 people to tackle him. Yeah, Rams are always been his best game.
Hey, give me 1 second. Let me flip on my lights. I forgot to do them before we started. Give me a second.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, I just had to flip on my lights real quick because my green screen was going out. I need to buy me a one of those selfie lights so that way I can have it when I do my live streams.
That's good to know, man. Like I'm working on that with my laptop, so I got to get that shit fixed up.
Yeah. So what are you expecting out of your team this year? What is your schedule looking like, and who, like, not so much who y'all play like in order, but like what teams are you playing outside your division, and then what are you expecting?
Oh, outside of our division, we got the AFC West, which I think is going to be an interesting competition because they're very loaded. So it's going to be very tough. And then you got the Miami Dolphins on the schedule too, which is insane. This team is like coming off of a coaching staff that they just took off of us. So they got Mike McDaniels being the head coach, and he's building a similar culture just like the way we've been building it. And that's an intriguing opponent. And then Kansas City, the question mark. Well, are they going to be as good as they are? I think they might be. People are questioning the Raiders if they're going to be legitimate. And I don't know. Like, I like the chemistry they got with Carr and Adams. But then when you look at the rest of the opponents, we got the Washington Commanders. That's a questionable team right there to play against. New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. I mean, Tampa Bay. I mean, you got a lot of good opponents right there, but it seems like it's anybody's guess. But as far as like the schedule going as favorable, I feel like we do have a very good opportunity to at least get past. I mean, I'm not getting too overhyped about it, but I feel like our depth pieces will make a difference whether we get to the playoffs or not this year. It determines on what Shanahan does. But when I look at the schedule, you look at teams like Washington, they're still a rebuilding team. You got New Orleans, questionable team. Tampa Bay, they're going to be a tough team. Carolina, they're rebuilding. You look at the Miami Dolphins, it's probably one of the most questionable team right now because of Tua at quarterback. So that might be a tough test, but we've actually had a tough test against Cincinnati, so maybe it's favorable for us because we know how we can match up with McDaniel because he was on our coaching staff. Maybe he knows something. Maybe we do know something that he doesn't know. So it's one or the other. But when you look at the AFC West, it's pretty tough. Seattle should be favorable, but I wouldn't be overlooking them. The Rams, we have our moments with the Rams. We owned them for quite a while, but they got over the hump. And then you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they've been pretty good. They just had their ups and downs, but it's a questionable team. But then you look at the rest of the NFC, and you got the Chicago Bears, who we play in the regular season opener. That's going to be an interesting matchup with Justin Fields at quarterback. So when you look at the schedule, when you look at the overall schedule, I think we can win 12 games. I think we could. Because I think it's based by the way we're coaching and our scheme and the matchup against their defense and how our offense will fare. That will determine whether we're going to be legit or not. So maybe that's overhyping, but I think maybe 12 wins will be the high ceiling for us.
12 wins?
Yeah, I predicted it during the season. I mean, during that little stream. But how do you feel about the Cowboys schedule when you look into it?
Well, I don't know how we ended up getting Tampa again. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm worried about Tampa. I'm scared of Tampa. I mean, I think this is the year that maybe we decide to finally beat Tom Brady, because Tom Brady has lost to the Eagles. He's lost to the Giants. I don't think he's lost to Washington, but he's never lost to Dallas. I know that for a fact. So maybe this is the year that we do get over that. Who knows? Then we have Cincinnati. I mean, if we're able to get ahead, I mean, to me, it's all going to depend on how this defense is with Jamar Chase and Mixon. If we're able to stop the run, and if Diggs is able to shut down Jamar Chase, I think we'll end up winning that game. Then we have Washington and the Giants. Until we haven't swept the division, I'm saying we're sweeping the division. I mean, we swept them last year. The Giants and the Commanders, they got better, but how much better did they get? I mean, they had a good draft, but the past few years, they've both been trash. They've both been bad teams. So even though you make yourself better, does that mean you have actually made yourself better to even beat the Cowboys or even beat the Eagles? I mean, even though the Giants beat the Eagles last year, I mean, who knows? So I'm looking fairly confident against those two teams. And then I forget. And then we have the Rams. Like we're playing three teams that have been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years, with the Rams, the Bengals, and Tampa, right? So then we have the Rams. That's going to be a very, very tough game. I think we're playing them in Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. It probably is Dallas. But then I think it's Dallas, then we got the Eagles. And after that, I mean, we run off like easy team. I think we got Detroit. We're going to have the Vikings again. We'll have the Packers at some point. And, that's a big question mark. The Packers, without Devontae Adams, what is Rodgers going to do? What is he going to do? So that's a big question mark right there. We have the Texans, the Jags, the Eagles, again, the Washington, the Giants. Like I said earlier, it's not a very hard schedule. We have the Bears, but there's always those teams that you show up to play that you think you're going to win, but somehow they sneak out the victory because you weren't ready, you weren't prepared enough to play, right? You thought you were going to roll in. This was going to be. We see it time and time again with the Cowboys. Hell, you see it time and time again with every team. I mean, that's why it's called Any Given Sunday, right? So, for us, I'm just anywhere predicting between 11 to 13 wins. That's where I'm getting. Where my happy medium is 12. That's where I'm at. Only because we did it last year with a little bit of a tougher schedule. This year we have a lot easier schedule. Just by looking at the teams we played. I mean, like the teams that we're playing. But even so, when you look at those teams, Detroit, as bad as they were last year, or their record says they were last year, they were a tough team to play some of those games. They were in a lot of those games. So it all just depends for me. But I'm looking at us at least 12 wins for us.
Seems reasonable because of the way your schedule looks like. And then I look at the way our schedule is, it depends on how we play with Trey Lance, because the ceiling could be 12 wins, but the downside could be worse depending on how our offense progresses. So that's where I look at the schedule and I say, you know what, when you look at the teams like Kansas City, that's going to be a shootout, even without Tyreek Hill. The Raiders, they're like one of the most suspect teams, but they gotten better with adding Devontae Adams. So you would figure maybe this would be a tough game, which we'll have to find out about that game. Washington Commanders, it's kind of like, okay, you got Carson Wentz. What's that going to do for you guys? Can't stay healthy. He's on his third team, so that's going to be a question mark. The Miami Dolphins, they got a new coach. They got a question mark with Tua because they're not really sure if he's the guy. Because Mike McDaniels can go a different direction if he wants to next year. He doesn't have to be committed to Tua because he just got here. And then you look at the teams like the team we're gonna play, Chicago Bears. Are they really confident about Justin Fields? Are they really confident about Justin Fields at quarterback? They're still a young team. And then you look at there's a lot of question marks with a lot of these other teams. I'm wondering if the Broncos are really legit, because just because you got Russell Wilson, does that make you guys legitimate Super Bowl contenders? I don't know. I think it'll take some time for this team to gel. Denver it will probably take them some time to gel as a team, because early in the season, when they had these new players, it takes time to gel with the offense they're playing. So it depends. And then you look at the Chargers. It's kind of like we don't always play good against them for whatever reason. But maybe we might have a chance. Maybe because of the way Herbert can play at times. He can play great, and then he can play a little off.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, it's going to be a very interesting year for both of us. I mean, we both got our own little, hiccups. I mean, you with Deebo Samuel, your whole Trey Lance thing. So let me ask you, are you expecting Jimmy G to be starting week 1? I mean, or are y'all prepared to sit down, have someone making $25 million sit down, sit on the bench while Trey Lance starts?
Man, that's a really tough one, man. But it depends if he's still here or not. So I believe they're already moving forward from Jimmy. So they're already looking to trade him. So I would think that they're going to stick with Trey going forward. But if Jimmy is here for whatever reason, I know this might sound crazy, but you're getting an expensive insurance policy right there. So yeah, why would I want to waste money on the bench on a guy? He can win games, but I would pretty much move forward. Because I don't want this team to be divided, because you got two different sides. You got the teammates who really vouch for Jimmy, and then you got the guys who like Trey Lance. So it's not a good thing to have. And then you're going to have, and I don't know if this was true, but one of the teammates during the locker room told Shanahan to stick with one person. And I don't know if that's what happened. But one of the situations of why Shanahan stuck with Jimmy, because one of the guys on the locker room told Shanahan, "Hey, stick with one person. Let's go with it." Yeah. And some of them were thinking maybe we should switch quarterbacks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, man. I mean, what else you got? What else are you looking at for the season with your team? I mean, like you said, it's going to be very tough to sit down Jimmy G, or at least, in my opinion, I think it's going to be really tough to get rid of him because he's making that much money. I mean, like I said, it's going to be tough. I don't see anyone trading for him to take over that contract, because, I mean, I think the only way y'all are able to get him off your hands is if y'all trade him, but y'all agree to pay majority of that contract this year. But with that being said, I mean, what kind of value are you going to be looking for that guy? Because there's no way you're getting a 2 or a 3, not even a 1. That's out of the question. I mean, what kind of value would you be looking for a Jimmy G, especially with teams basically having all their starting quarterbacks and him just going to be riding the bench most of the season if he does get traded somewhere?
Well, we'd be lucky to get a 4th or 5th round at this point and just take a little bit off the contract and then get it off the books at least.
Yeah. No, like for Dak, for us, next year is the year to do anything. If he doesn't do anything this year, next year's the year to do it, to where either we cut him, trade him, something. If we trade him or cut him after June 1st, which I know you can cut guys and whatnot, but have it post-dated June 1st, designated for a post-June 1st, because we would be saving 30-something million on the books, saving money, but we would be having 18 million in dead money, which I'd rather have the 18 million in dead money while we save 34 million. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, people would ask then, would ask the question, it would pose the question, who is then the guy you would put in? I don't know. That's not my decision to make. I just know what Dak Prescott is. If he doesn't, or what should happen if he doesn't get us anywhere again, with us getting to the playoffs or anything. But that's why there's scouts out there who can scout. And if Dallas is serious, I mean, the last time, and I've been saying this for quite a while, the Dallas Cowboys haven't done anything, and I mean anything. And I'm not just talking about divisions, but I'm talking about winning in the playoffs, winning in the NFC Championship game, winning in the Super. Haven't done anything since they drafted a quarterback in the first round. And when was the last time they drafted a quarterback in the first round? 89? Yeah, 89 with Troy Aikman. That was the last time the Cowboys did anything. And that was in the 90s. For whatever reason, just like the safety position, the Dallas Cowboys don't take stock. And I don't care what anyone says, just because based off who we've drafted and when we've drafted them, they don't take stock in quarterbacks. We don't. I mean, look at the circus we had when we brought in an aging Drew Bledsoe. When we had Ryan Leaf, for crying out loud. We drafted Quincy Carter in the second round. We Chad Hutchins. I mean, this laundry list of bargain deal quarterbacks that we've had. I mean, let's face it, the Cowboys do not put stock into the quarterback position. I mean, I get it. You had Tony Romo and you found something with him, I guess you can say, even though he didn't get us really anywhere. And then now you have Dak Prescott, a fourth-round project who was lucky to get where he was because of the Kellen Moore injury, because of the Tony Romo injury, and he took advantage of it. But I think it was more of the talent he had around him, because when you look at what happened when you took away some of that talent, i.e. Des Bryant, and defense were able to stack the box against Zeke, and they try to make Dak. They had Dak try to beat them with his arm, and you had wide receiver by committee with the rookie Gallup, with a Hearns, with a Cole Beasley. I mean, we were 3-5, man. We were scraping the bottom of the. I mean, we were probably going to be in a top 5, top 8 draft pick that year if we didn't trade away our number 1 pick for Amari Cooper. In what, 2019? And what quarterback came out in 2019?
2019, you had 2019, I believe. 2019, that was a solid draft class, but I got to. Oh, wasn't it Baker? No, not Baker Mayfield.
It was Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones,
Drew Lock.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kyler Murray would have been the only one, because there's no way I'm looking at Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, Will Gear. I mean, yeah, no, Klay Thompson.
Yeah, Klay Thompson, but that class was okay. Wasn't that spectacular, but you had Kyler Murray, who was easily the athletic, gifted quarterback, and then you had what you were talking about. Drew Lock is what he is. That's why he's in Seattle, because they're rebuilding.
Yeah, I mean, the wide receivers that year in 2019 drafted AJ Brown. I mean, you could, you wouldn't take a Darius Slayton, Marquise Brown. I mean, that's about it. The top, the first two, maybe a Darius Slayton. If you were looking for
Debo
at that point, Debo wasn't drafted that year. Was he?
He was in 2019, yeah. Second round pick from South Carolina. You had two of the Ole Miss receivers, DK Metcalf and AJ Brown that year. And then you had Marquise Brown, who was their speedy receiver from Baltimore they drafted. Let's see. I'm trying to remember another receiver that. Because I remember that those were the two draft class where they had, they had these specimen receivers from Ole Miss, and that's where you saw A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf being these specimen receivers, and then you had Debo coming off South Carolina, and Terry McLaurin, there you go, the guy from Ohio State. And then they drafted. Then there was this other Ohio State receiver who wasn't all that, but he went to the Colts. Paris Campbell, another guy, and then N'Keal Harry, a guy that the wrong Arizona State wide receiver, but we got the right. We found that one the following year, but yeah, those were like the that draft class was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was. So I mean, you had Hunter Renfro. I mean,
yep, 5th-round pick.
Yeah. So I mean, you had your pick if you didn't trade away, and for me, trading away Amari Cooper like we did, I mean, was that the plan all along to trade away and then redo his contract that 1 year that we needed to redo it, and then find a way out after that? Because I mean, that's basically what we did. We traded away a 2019 pick, who we would have on a rookie deal still. And not having to spend all that money on an Amari Cooper, and then now trade him for nothing. Because that's basically what we did. Traded him for nothing. You traded away that 1st-round pick, who would have had us in a top, at least a top 8. Who are the edge rushers in 2019? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, and I get it. You draft a certain player, you might not end up with the players you have now. We might not have had a Parsons. So
I'm trying to think of which one it was, because I know there was like some good ones coming out of that draft class. So it wasn't it was Bosa who went there, but he was drafted early at that spot, so we got him. I'm trying to remember another one that you were referring to. There was, because I know that was the other one, and then there was the other guy that was drafted by the. Yeah, it was Bosa who was on that draft class. He was easily, and then you had Josh Allen from Kentucky who went to the Jaguars, and then you had that one guy from
you had Montez Sweat.
Oh yeah, the Washington, they got him.
Yeah,
and I think the Ravens drafted one other guy. I forget what he was. Yeah, that Josh Allen from Kentucky. That dude was like a good pick for the Jags, and then I believe
Rashawn Gray went to. Didn't he go to
Seattle? Right?
No, Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay. Oh yeah, Rashawn Gary. There you go. That dude from Michigan. Yeah, that dude was specimen. He ran a good 40 time. He was kind of spectacular. And
yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of ways that this could have gone about, with Dak Prescott. I mean, with CeeDee Lamb, and the way we got rid of him, and what we did to acquire him, what we got rid of. I mean, there was a lot of talent on the board that we could have got that year, So
pretty much, yeah. It was like a pretty solid class. Dallas pretty much gave that pick away for the Raiders, and the Raiders decided to get Colin Farrell, and then they realized that they got the right one in the 4th round instead. So I think that was the pick that the Raiders ended up getting, the dude from Clemson.
Yeah. So, but CG, I appreciate you having me on. There's some things that I have to do here at the house. I do have I'm days away, man, from my son being born. So I gotta shampoo.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. So I gotta shampoo the carpets and clean up the carpet and get it all ready. My wife wanted to do it tonight, before we went to bed. So I gotta head out, man. But I appreciate you having me on. This is always fun, bro. Coming in here and talking football with you. It's gonna be a little tough right now because it's the off season. There's really not a lot of things going on, and there's only so much we can talk about, right? But once training camp starts again, preseason starts again, hopefully we can do this again, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime, dude. We can get back on it during training camp. Yeah, just give me the schedule and time. We can work something out. Oh
yeah, man. Because it's always cool doing this with you, even though you are a Niner fan, and it's funny. I was just off topic real quick. It's funny because I was flipping through my news feed on YouTube, and I saw Mr. A-Bomb over there making fun of you using our thumbnail because you had that skull thumbnail, that other thumbnail you used.
Yeah.
And he was making fun. And I was like, man, A-Bomb, get off of it, man. Leave this dude alone already.
Dude, I'm just doing my thing. I'm just focused on other stuff, man.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's funny. It's just it's funny how like we try to break away from that stuff, but yet people still keep talking about us, man. Because it's the same thing with me, with certain people over there in that organization over there, the things that they do. So
Yeah. Supposedly I'm irrelevant, so why is my name even still mentioned? That's just
exactly. I feel the same way, bro.
yeah. But hey, dude, I'll let you do what you gotta do. I'm gonna go catch up with my wife too, and we had a good blast. Just inbox me a schedule or something, and then we can definitely do something during training camp. Yeah, dude, it's kind of a good way how we talk football, bro. We started, dude, the first couple of years we started off with as feuds for a little bit, and then now we're just starting to build up a good commodity right there, man.
Yeah, man, and I like how and I like how everything's turning out, man. And I want to congratulate you with your channel, how it's kind of building and going up. I finally I'm in the same boat as you. I hit that 1K, so now I just see my subscribers going up and up a little bit from day to day, and I'm almost at 1,030. I'm like one away, so like I'm waiting for that for that next one to hit because I'm 70 away from 1,100. So it's exciting,
Yeah.
man. Exciting
I'm trying to get the 4. Yeah, I'm trying to get the 4K. But I remember like a couple of years ago, I was probably low bottom, but it's because a lot of my guesses, bro. A lot of the guesses I get in are like pretty good. Maybe at some point, maybe I'll give you some college players at some point. I'll get them in contact next offseason. Maybe you can get them on your show.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start doing. Watching more college football, and then once I know who's going in the draft, try to hit these guys up. Hit up their Twitters and see if they want to come on and talk some football and stuff.
Yeah, I've told you about one of your guys from your local college area. I told him to hit them up, man.
I did, but he just never got back to me, so I kind of left it alone. But then I saw one of them on yours, and I was like, oh, this guy's been on like 4 other different YouTube channels. I was like, nah, I'm gonna leave this guy alone. But then come to find out he only had an Instagram, which I don't have. So
yeah, you're talking about the one that was on different channels, and then the one I got on, another one, he got drafted by the Niners, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is cool, man. Well, all right, man, I'm gonna head on out of here. You have a good rest of your night, bro, and I'll hit you up later.
All right, for sure, bro. Have a good one.